Ani, bonsoir, good evening, and welcome to our regular council meeting. I'd like to begin the meeting by acknowledging that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples and the Robinson-Huron Treaty area, and wish to recognize the neighboring community of Dokis First Nations. While we meet today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their culture. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. And tonight, before we go into the agenda, today is December 6th, and it's the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women in Canada. Back in 1991, the Parliament of Canada established this day of mourning and remembrance to mark the anniversary of the murders of the 14 female engineering students at l'École Polytechnique de Montréal in 1989 in an act of gender base. Today is an opportunity to reflect on violence against women and girls in our society and to remember those who have died or continue to suffer because of gender-based violence. It is a day on which communities and individuals can come together, speak out, and take action to eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls. Violence against women and girls is the world's largest and most persistent human rights violation. It transcends all boundaries, including ours in French River. My first grandchild was born on December 6th, and she's a girl. My amazing Geneviève Pajot, who happens to be, as I'm told, just like me. As we celebrate her birthday today, I tried to think of the greatest gift she could ever receive. And I wish Geneviève and all the women and girls in our community and around the world a lifetime of freedom from any type of violence. Bonne fête, ma chère Geneviève, je t'aime. So with that, I need a resolution to adopt the agenda. Moved by Roger, seconded by Dave. All in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests? Seeing none. Well, tonight we have a great delegation. We have Keith, John, and Dave from the Decon Group that will address the affordable seniors housing project that we've been all working on for months now, almost a year, right? And so I will turn over the presentation to you. I would ask you to go to the mics and leave it with you.
Live? Well, thank you very much. We're glad to be back here with our next step of what we need to do in the senior housing project. Since signing the letter of engagement back in the summer, we have been busy. As you're aware, we prepared the business plan, the needs analysis, which you have a copy of. We had 2 senior meetings, one in Albin, one in Noelville, with an overwhelming turnout. We're very, very pleased with the response we're getting from the community. In addition to that, we had circulated a copy of a survey through the seniors, and we got an excellent response from that. And from what I understand, you're continuing to get inquiries from the general public about when the project is going to be done. So that's good to hear. The recommendation we provided in a report was that we proceed with a 30-unit senior housing complex. And we analyzed the sites, and it obviously made sense that the property adjacent to the municipal building was the most cost-effective site. And so we've done a report on that, the location. And yesterday I met with the municipal planner just to give him a heads up of what we're doing, and I'll prepare a more detailed sketch showing how the property will be severed and the retained and the setbacks. And then he'll give us, it's called a pre-consultation report back that can determine the process for severing it and or if a rezoning is required. So that process can run concurrent to what our next phase of the project is. So we're very pleased with where we are to date, and we're glad we're getting council support on pushing forward. And we wanted to come tonight to share the storyboards to give council an idea of what this project can look like. And some of you did attend the site in Bonfield, and I'm glad you made it there. And we're very, very pleased with the look of that project. So if we can do the same thing over here, I think we'll all be happy with that. So feel free to ask any questions or have a look at the storyboards of what we're proposing for here. And so what we want to do is just give just a quick version of the finances and how it affects the rents. And I know that when I did the public presentation for the seniors, you know, we wanted to qualify it with all of the seniors that there's a range that we can expect for rents, and it's all subject to some changes of the interest rates and costing. And we always wanted to let the seniors know we can build anything they want, but the rents have to pay the mortgage payment. So we have been very successful in putting together the document that shows this, and this is the most important part, it is economically sustainable. So with that, I'm going to ask Dave to just kind of go through, or sorry, John, to go through the capital budget and just to give you a breakdown of how those numbers work. So I'll get John up here.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you all for allowing us to make our second presentation on your seniors housing. As Keith had mentioned, significant interest in the support for seniors housing here. The number one thing that we also identified was the type of housing, the unit size. I believe Keith had gone through those questions in his questionnaire, and that sort of led us to what you all saw that we were building in Bonfield. That model seems to be very consistent here with what Keith has identified. The seniors groups have had a significant interest in, as far as everything from the layout to being a walkout to the unit sizes, and therefore we ran with the concept. It's a known concept. It's one that we are very familiar with. We know it works, and we also have a really good idea on the costs. So with that being said, we prepared similar drawings. We also took some aerial satellite images of the proposed location, and in looking at that, sort of figured out a layout that we could potentially do on that site, which showed that we could fit it in 3 buildings on the particular area, and similar to that other project, the Bonfield project. They could all fit fairly easily in sort of a court fashion, with the parking right in front of the units and easy access to the units, ground floor access for all of them. And that was identified as probably the most favorable type of layout and type of design. So given that, we then applied what we have as our costs, and we've presented those to you in a capital budget, and we broke it down in a transparent way to show you how that cost is distributed. In addition to that, what we did on this one was, and you've seen that in your report, we identified some of the items that we would normally go through the process with a committee and determine whether it was required or not required, or wanted to be features, things such as, you know, whether or not you required to have the fencing around the project, you wanted sheds. There's all those little items, but we kept that as a separate component, and that's why you see the amounts that we had previously given as sort of allowance amounts, and just so that those are the items that will be ironed out with the committee to ensure that it meets all your needs, and to ensure it meets all the affordability and the costing requirements. So just to explain that a little bit. Other than that, we provided a design brief. The design brief supports the contract. So for example, the CCDC contract that you're given a copy is sort of that next step of, it's a standardized version of the provincial contract that most projects that are designed and constructed by a builder are used, and that contract on a high level just starts with, you know, the parties involved and the cost and the concept, but really the design brief gives you the meat of what you're going to get, and that supports what we've done in other projects similar to this, and gives you a very detailed breakdown of what you're going to receive, and what the seniors project will start off looking like, and again, to be refined as we progress throughout the stages of the concept development and the project. So hopefully that gave you enough information to at least see, you know, connect the dots for everything from the need to the cost to what the deliverable would be. Dave is the next part of the equation, who puts together the financial side of it, and prepares, you know, the necessary elements to ensure it's viable, and it has the operating ability of it would be. So
I have a question.
yes.
Is there a way that you can take a quick revisit of the capital budget just to show the allowance component and how that's a no more than price? Is that appropriate to talk about?
Sure, if that's something we want to delve into. Yes, absolutely. So on your portion, on Dave's portion of his the breakdown, the operating budget, he took the, yeah, there it is.
Not there, but the capital.
I don't think that was part of the, no.
Okay.
So it was, yeah. So that's basically where I was going. The allowances part is basically the component which I believe council received that in a package. It allowed for the elements that are to be determined to stay as separate elements. You got the core based cost of what the building constructs, and then as the committee gets formed and more details get established about, you know, certain specific elements that are listed in those allowances, then some of them will be zero if it's, we don't need that, we don't want that, or we determine, like in some cases, what you know, some of the hard costs are going to be with, you know, the services and whatnot. So those elements are just there for reference. There was also a little bit with some tax component that showed you know, contingent amount, which again, based on current legislation and whatnot, what the government's passed with respect to affordable housing, that just, some of that just goes away. So again, just those are items that just showed what the potential, but Dave's values are based on so what we've done here is we've provided that capital amount, we provide the contingent amounts, and so that becomes the no more than. So ultimately the contract will be based on, after we iron out what those variables are that you wish or don't wish to have as part of your project, the cost comes in line with that. That's what the final number is that's written in the contract, the CCDC we were talking about. So that hopefully answers that question, Dave, and gets us to a point where so his numbers are based on the no more than. So the good thing is, you know, if the parameters stay the same, then those rates could be, you know, I'm sure a range could be established, but hopefully they'll be, you know, able to be better than what those conditions are if possible. So hopefully that is there any questions with respect to that side of the presentation, whether it be the design, the proposed concept, or the, you know, anything on the contingent items?
I know that since we started talking about this complex too, a lot of the seniors, especially the group in Noelville, are wondering, instead of having 3 common areas, to have one larger common area.
Yes.
And that could be built in, right?
100%, yes. And we already, that came up in our preliminary
Did
review.
it? Okay.
So what we were looking at doing is making one larger common room, and I think it's shown on the one plan. They're not really clear exactly that is the only common room or the bigger common room, but we pushed one of the units away. In the corner
Okay.
there, the number one in the corner, the
Right.
blue,
Right.
in the top left-hand corner. To make that larger than what you saw in the other project
Right.
that you were invited to look at, that we were doing, which allows for a bigger gathering place for the seniors in this particular complex. And that was in response to that comment that came back to us. So.
Okay, good. Thank
And
you.
if it, throughout the process, we, met with the committee and they said, well, can we do something else with that common room and make other sort of provisions there? Absolutely. This is definitely a work in progress, and we will, accommodate whatever needs to be done. The figures today and everything is matching what you see here in front of you.
Perfect. That's great. Any questions so far? No.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, good evening, folks. Everybody knows me. My name is Dave Butler. I drove in from Ottawa to see you folks, and believe it or not, it's +6 there. So it's a little like winter up here. I started to feel it in my bones this morning. -20. I got it to the cars. Oh my God, it's the north. So it's what I used to like, and it's nice and dry, so that's good. So part of my role is to kind of take a look at the financial aspect of these projects and to try to accomplish our main objective, which is to provide an affordable, sustainable, and viable housing project, or seniors housing project in this case, where it puts no financial pressure on the municipality or the nonprofit or any of the groups that we're dealing with. So many of these projects die because there's not a lot of capital around, not a lot of government money, provincially or federally. So many times we have to do these things as if we have no money, and if Keith sort of finds some money at the end, or the town has access to finding funds. So when the final mortgage comes, we might be able to write that capital down and effectively have cheaper mortgage payments. But for now, we have to deal what we know, and then we know is, like John said, the no more than price on this project is going to be $9.8 million. And with all of the allowances that he has in the project for soft costs and unknowns that we have, the prediction is that we'll be significantly lower by, because in fact, we've even built in money, as John began to tell you, for an allowance in case you were taxed or self-assessed on the property for HST and you had some money you had to pay. That was financial pressure. So we've built in an amount of money in there. So in the event that when it's finished, the feds ask you for some money, we have capitalized that into the project. So you could draw on that. So the idea is on these projects that we try to provide 100% financing, or we capitalize or include all the costs, soft costs, hard costs, everything that you can think of into these projects. So again, the municipality doesn't have to take money out of their pocket, which they don't have budgets for. You guys might be different because you seem kind of rich in here with this beautiful town hall you have, but most municipalities have zip, right? So, but they do have goodwill, and they're able to leverage that goodwill to bring these projects about. Banks seem to really like municipalities. They feel it's a license to print money. So that's why they love municipalities. So what I did was I gave you a more detailed budget in your packages, but because this is nationwide, this internet thing, we tried to keep it on a more summarized version of it without getting into the specifics. So essentially, we do the reverse engineering on the financing, just like we do on the building, we reverse engineer. So we got $9.8 million to cover. And we have to determine what rents would be and what our known expenses are, and then either a surplus or not a surplus at the end. So let me tell you that under the expense items in red, variable expenses are, we take an occupancy factor, so in case it's not full all the time, and we've moved that out to a reserve. And there's gonna be life cycle costs. Eventually, there's gonna be new roofs and windows and other things that you're gonna need to build, so you need to have a reserve for that. So in any good financial package, you'll always be looking for those reserves in the package. Then the fixed expenses, and I call it operating and maintenance, snow plowing, you know, just the general maintenance of the property, summer and winter. But the biggie is the mortgage payment. And this is always, the jury's out on mortgages right now. Nobody even knows with a crystal ball. We all think in a year or so, it's going to be coming down, which is a good thing for you, because that's when you'll be able to convert your credit facility from construction to takeout mortgage. And maybe we didn't get into the how we do that. So essentially, we set up 2 credit facilities, generally with the same bank. And one is to build it, where we get advances until we're finished. And then that money converts over to a permanent mortgage when it's all finished. And during that period, while it's under construction, we're continuing to negotiate with the banks to come up with the best deal we can get and look for additional capital to buy that amount down. And we've got to know more then. So what could happen? That interest rates could drop. John's price could go to 9.2. I'm just saying, I didn't pick a number. I don't know. I've never even spoken to him about that. And all of a sudden we have a big surplus. Well, either you put that into reserves or you buy down the rents. You offset that with rents. So this is kind of my objective, is to build a sustainable, affordable, no financial pressure on municipalities project. And since John will probably be operating this thing for you in the first year or 2 after completion, he'll be in there managing some of these expenses and so on, and he'll have a budget for all of those things. And one of the other things that we do normally, and it may happen here too, is that we want to eliminate risk for the town. And by transferring the ownership of the facility to a nonprofit, and the municipality just guaranteeing its mortgage obligations, you keep all of the liability and risk away from the municipality. And I think this project is going to be no different than any other project. We'll set up a board for the nonprofit housing, and it'll comprise of community members who will manage this thing and be accountable to the town, because they have guaranteed the mortgage essentially, right? So for me, that's kind of all I really have. Is there any other questions that you might want to talk about with financing? Nobody's jumping out of their seats. It's all exciting stuff, money, eh?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any surprises yet.
Well, thank you.
So we've done our part. We've been diligent about preparing all the financial statements. We've given you all the documentation. And basically, it's where the rubber hits the road now, is that for us to proceed to the next level, there's a lot involved for John's team to do the comprehensive design work, proceed into the building permit process. And on that financial spreadsheet there, you'll see a couple of items in there that hopefully we don't have to pay for, like for instance, the building permit. You know, we've put a line item in for that, and if that can be raised, or the fencing. So let's try and chase those away. It brings the cost down. So, but at this stage, we're really requesting a resolution be approved by council, and the CEO is provided with a report to this thing, basically giving us permission to proceed with the next level. So I'll leave it with that. And any questions or?
Any questions? So when, so once we get the binding development agreement signed and that, when does the board get created and all that stuff?
So we typically, what we want to do is get all of the approvals through. The municipality has all of the powers to get, if it's required to have a rezoning or a consent application or the MTO approval for the access.
Right.
You guys carry all the cards. You carry way more authority than a nonprofit organizations that is brand new. So
Right.
once all the approvals are through and John's got a building permit in his hand, we're ready to go. Concurrent to that, we'll select the board members, which it's up to you to pick who it is. And we can meet with them and we have copies of standard bylaws and agreements that they can start to familiarize themselves with that. And then once we get all the approvals through and partway through that process, we'll have the property transferred over to the nonprofit organization.
Right.
And then when the takeout financing comes in, it'll be attached to that property.
Okay, so getting a lot of questions from people who are interested. When do they apply? So it would be after all the permitting is done
Yes,
and we start the construction,
it's
then the
a,
application would be,
oh yeah, we need the committee and the council is included in the design input. The whole process is like 16 months. So
okay,
about halfway through that is when we want to get people excited about that. And we want in the near future to have a big press release and show the community what we're doing.
right,
And we want people banging on the door saying, I want in, I went in. You know, what I want to see is how serious they are. You know, if you're serious about it, we'll have forms signed here, you know, and so we know halfway through the process, we can be contacted and then say, okay, the building is going to be ready for occupancy. But then we'll know the better date. And that's when we can line it up. So.
Mark?
A quick question, Keith. There's nothing wrong with running the process concurrently where we start advertising and soliciting committee members.
Right.
Although everything's not set in stone in terms of legalities, they can still provide input and consideration until all the legal work is done.
Yes, absolutely. No, I agree. And this is your project, not ours. We want as much input from you people and from the community as possible. When it's all said and done and we're gone, we want you to be proud of what you've accomplished. So.
Any questions? Roger?
Has all the detailing been done for basic construction or is just sort of an outlay right now?
That's more of a John question. I would say that this is conceptual and that's why we need input. Like for instance, the common room, how big of a common room we want to have. Are you in favor of this kind of layout? My response I got from when we did the community meetings is the majority of people wanted 2-bedroom. And that's the input that I provided back to John to do this
Right.
breakdown of 2 versus 1.
But I'm like saying, I'm talking, for example, the foundation, like say 6 feet deep for the frost,
Oh,
slab on grade. Does it have rebar?
So, absolutely. So just to answer that question.
You need to go to the mic.
Thank you. So just to elaborate on that, on the answer to that, as far as the actual architectural design, no, it's not complete
Okay.
at this point. We have made assumptions and you've seen if you've reviewed the design brief, we've detailed what we would provide with that. We've done actual takeoff based on similar buildings that we're building at the current time. And so we said, if it's a slab on grade, we've got the 5 or 6 foot foundation with a certain size of footing. And we're using the same wall structure, the same roof structure, the same truss structure, the same similar types of windows. This is what the cost will come in for that concept. As we go through, and if there is, for example, a change to a portion of the concept, we can make that through the final design phase. There are some things we want to get out early or get completed early, which involves the zoning. So this conceptual design is making assumptions.
Okay,
So assumptions like the zoning will not impede on this layout or the unit sizes or anything like that. As we go through that process, if one of those elements decide that, well, the buildings can't be that big or they have to be positioned different, or then we would amend that through that portion of the phase. But getting that, as Keith said, taken care of at the outset will allow us to, as fast as possible, proceed with the full-on engineered plumbing, mechanical, architectural drawings that will support this to a permit stage.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Willie?
I don't have a question.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just so I understand the whole process, so we're gonna, you're looking for council to propose a resolution so you can move forward to the next stages, which is gonna start costing money to finalize the final build spec and so on.
Correct.
So that's what you're asking for us as a commitment, so you can move forward.
Yeah, there is a resolution, I believe, coming forward. John will submit it's called the CCDC contract with all the numbers in it. You have your solicitor review it and make sure all the numbers, the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. And once that's signed, John hits high speed.
Thank you.
Further questions? All right, so then it's time to for a resolution to sign a legally binding development agreement known as the CCDC 14 Design Building Stipulation Price Contract. That is still subject to approval by our lawyers and of course, Decon. So I'll need a mover and a seconder. Oh, sorry.
Just to be transparent, we're also requesting council give us the authority to start the planning process and make applications to the planning board for whatever applications for consent and or rezoning that we require. So we're doing it concurrently just to get things going.
So in other words, we're giving approval for this project to go forward. Okay, so that's as simple, I think, as I could make it. Okay, so I need a mover and a seconder, Dave and Bob.
It is duly moved and seconded. Be resolved that council adopts bylaw 2023-65 to authorize the mayor and CAO to execute the CCDC 14 design build stipulated price contract with Descon Construction Limited, subject to the review of the municipal lawyer, for the construction of a 30-unit townhouse on municipal land adjacent to the municipal complex, and further direct staff to apply to the Sudbury's Planning Board for applicable planning processes.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Well, now we enter, yes, it's very exciting, very, very exciting for our
Oh,
municipality.
thank you very much. This is exciting for all of us.
Yes.
It's going to be a
So-
great project.
So let me put it this way, the seniors here, the sooner the better. And I think some of the children want that to see. Yeah, Dave's not getting any younger, so thank you so much for coming out.
Well,
And
thank you.
putting it, and we look forward to the next phase. Yeah. You're more than welcome to stay for the entire meeting if you want. Won't last so long. All right.
Put them in the hall and stuff and people can use it.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to keep the renditions and people can have a look at them if they want. Okay, so let's move on, council, to reports. There's no report for general government, but there is one under 6.2, a resolution to authorize the 2023 reserve transaction report that you can find in your package. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And I believe, Mark, this Mark? Okay. No, the other Mark. That's what I thought.
Saying goodbye to her, yes. Sorry.
So go ahead, Mark Fleury.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an annual occurrence when we recommend to council unfinished capital project to be deferred to the following year. In this year, we have 16 projects totaling a little over $2.1 million. That will be we recommend deferring to next year, next year's budget process. In these 16 projects, there's a couple that were actually there's more than a couple that were awarded, tenders were awarded, and the equipment has not arrived yet, or the due to winter the work has not been done yet. public works building, roof, and also the arena. And for equipment, there's landfill compactor and tandem truck that have not been received yet because of the delay of construction and to get the equipment. And so we recommend the 16 projects be deferred to next year's budget process.
Thank you. Any questions for Mark? So we're looking at deferring the projects that we were unable to finish. Do you need a resolution for that, Madam Chair? So I need a resolution to move these projects forward to 2024. Need a mover, seconder, Roger and Willie.
Duly moved and seconded, be it resolved that council agrees that the 2023 unfinished projects as listed be deferred to 2024 and that council authorizes that the funds allocated to these projects be transferred into reserves before the 2023 year end as attached.
All those in favor? Thank you. 6.3, so 6.3.1 Product Care Association of Canada Municipality Lighting Material Services Agreement. So we need a resolution to pass a bylaw to authorize the agreement. I need a mover and a seconder, Willie and Bob.
Duly moved and seconded, be resolved that bylaw 2023-63, being a bylaw to enter into a municipal lighting materials services agreement with Product Care Association of Canada, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
All those in favor? Thank you. We'll move on to 6.3.2, the Monetville Waste Transfer Side Land Lease Agreement, resolution to acknowledge receipt of the land termination. Bob? Well, I was trying to think, am I going to ask, do people have questions with regards to this? I just have one comment. So I know it's coming to an end. Are we going to send the people in Monetville a letter to let them know that when they wake up?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we didn't want to start the process until council was officially informed.
Okay.
So yes, there will be a plan put in place to notify the residents.
Yeah.
And also, I think we talked about putting posters up at the site that it will be closed effective a certain date.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, I just don't want them to wake up one morning and not find their bins there anymore. Okay. All right, so now I need a mover, Bob, and a seconder, Willie.
It is duly moved and seconded, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the letter dated November 20th, 2023, if giving notice to terminate the land lease agreement with Mr. Fryer for the Monetville Waste Transfer Site location effective January 31st, 2024.
All those in favor? You guys in favor? Thank you. There are no reports under 6.4, 0.5, and 0.6. Any correspondence, Madam Clerk? None. I need a resolution to adopt the items contained in the consent agenda. Moved by Bob, seconded by Dave. All those in favor? Thank you. Are there any notices of motion? See none. Just whipping. And then we'll start with announcement and inquiries. And for a change, I'm going to start tonight. I want to thank our fire chief, Ruck, and bylaw officer and waste management manager, Kevin, for going to Etobicoke to pick up all that wonderful food today for the food bank. It was incredible. The turnout was great. The Rapids were there. St. Antoine was there. The Lions were there. And I know that the community and on a whole will be very appreciative. So, and my phone's been buzzing saying, I guess they've seen the news. So saying that we got great coverage, and a huge thank you to Ian Campbell from MCTV for covering the event. On Reminder Council, December, I wrote November too. Wow. December 13th, the Noelville Seniors Luncheon. It's their Christmas luncheon. So as we normally do, we go and serve luncheon and we clean up. So if you can get there around 11:45, that would be terrific, or earlier if you can. And then we have the parade on December 6th. So the activities start at 3 o'clock with the hot dogs and refresh. Did I say November again?
You said December sixth.
16, that's,
16.
yeah.
You said 6.
Giselle's going to bed very soon. So sorry about that. Maybe I should have let everybody go. December 16th, activities start at 3 o'clock at the arena with hot dogs and refreshments. And then the parade starts at 5. Thank you. Papa Noel. And then I wanted to also acknowledge and thank our firefighters and the OPP and everybody else, Denis Prévost, his group, Rennie, Dave, I know you were there, Bob, you were working too, for the train. Heard some great comments about the train, and that we are splitting the donation that CP is giving us. So half of it is going to Les Paniers de Noël and the rest of them is coming to the food bank. So a little bit more able to sustain our food banks. So a huge thank you to everybody. And those are all my announcements. So I'll start with Roger. Oh, volunteer. Oh, I knew I forgot something. So December 13th at the renovated Alvin Community Center, we're going to be honoring all the volunteers in our community. Also, it's a chance for the community to have a look at what the new center will look like inside. And we encourage everybody to attend. And it starts at 6:30. Okay, I'll start with Roger.
I'd like to put out a big thank you to Melanie and Carly for arranging the municipal Christmas dinner. It was very well organized, very well done, and the food was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to repeat some of the stuff you said, and Roger, I echo that here. Thank you to Melanie, Carly, all the staff that had a hand into the Christmas party for staff. I know on Monday, Tuesday, I've talked to staff. Everyone was extremely happy, extremely pleased, and very appreciative. Christmas parade, December 16th. I'm just going to re-mention it. Skating at 3 o'clock. There'll be food upstairs for the children. I'm told Santa might show up at the arena. Then the parade, and a big thank you to H&R Lumber that are sponsoring this parade. A big thank you to H&R Lumber. The Christmas train was, I was amazed at all the people that showed up. It was shoulder to shoulder, talking to people. Well, the next day with our CSO, oh, you were there? Oh, you were there? That there was so many people, you just couldn't see everyone. And the donation, when you think about it, the donation that I'm just going to say CP train at this moment, because I know the name change escapes me. And the donation they gave to us, and they have 104 stops, donations like this. It's mind-boggling what they give back to communities. So a big thank you to them. And thank you to all of council at the last meeting for putting up with me on Zoom. That's it. Thank you.
First, I'd like to start and thank staff for the Christmas dinner. It was fantastic. It really shows to me what a tight-knit family this municipality and all the workers and staff. It's amazing. It's such a family-esque environment. It was so enjoyable that night. It was reminiscent of sitting in the living room by the fire and sitting with close friends. It really was nice. I also want to give a shout out to the Rapids. They made short work of the unloading of the large quantity of food that was received at the food bank today. So thank you very much, gentlemen. And that's really it for me.
There's not really much to add, but I'm going to thank staff myself for the Christmas party we had. It was very well organized. Thank you very much. I guess everything was pretty much said, so that's all I got. Thank you.
Mr. Dean and Zoom land.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have much to say except that I real regrets, Earl and I do, about missing the Christmas party. I think that's the first time that I've missed one of these, and after hearing how successful it was and how much enjoyment everyone had, made it even harder to think that we had to miss it. But it was really no choice. It was that same day that we tested positive, and we thought, no, we better not spread that around anywhere. So but we do regret that, and I'm sorry not to be there tonight. I would have liked to have had an opportunity to be a little closer as I listened to all of the information about the senior center. It really appears to be quite a project, and I guess that we will see a lot of happy people once this is underway and then it comes to fruition. And I too am looking forward to seeing what the community center looks like in Albin. And I think you said that's the evening of the 13th too?
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's that, yeah, so we have the luncheon at noon, and
Yeah.
then the volunteer appreciation at 6:30.
6:30. Okay. Just making a note of that too. So I'm sure we can make it to that. So thank you very much. I don't have anything else really. Thank you.
Right? Members of staff?
Through you, Madam Mayor, just a reminder, December 19th is our initial kickoff to our budget meetings at 2:00. So I look forward to the conversations with council that day. And I just want to take this opportunity, Madam Mayor, on behalf of staff, to thank Mayor and Council for your ongoing support of staff, and wish you all a happy holidays and happy holidays to the community we serve. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so before we adjourn, I too, on behalf of council, want to wish everyone a very happy holidays. Stay safe, enjoy yourself, and look forward to next year, because this is our last council meeting, formal council meeting, until mid-January. January 17th, okay. So I need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw, moved by Willie and Dave. All those in favor? Thank you. And I need a resolution to adjourn, moved by Bob. Oh, Dean. Oh, there's Dean. Sorry, Dean. When somebody's on Zoom, I never see you. Okay, sorry. So Dean and Bob. All those in favor? Thank you. Bonsoir.